Hello and good morning to everyone. Welcome to the learning series in Let's Walk Together. We have Alpana with us once again, and today we will be dealing with a very interesting topic from self doubt to self belief. Isn't it amazing? For those of you who have attended the previous sessions held by Alpana, wasn't it amazing? And we would encourage you to check out our YouTube channel and visit the sessions done on how to reframe negative thoughts, how to handle stress and anxiety. And today we are going to move from self doubt to self belief. So, Alpana, over to you. Can you please briefly introduce yourself and we can start off?
Sure. Thank you so much, Ashish. Good morning, everyone. Very nice to see all of you here. And, just quickly, my introduction. My name is Alpana, and I am a mental health professional. I'm a psychotherapist, and I have been working in this field for more than 16 years now. I feel very privileged to be a part of the MHSF family. Okay, and it's a great pleasure to conduct these sessions, facilitate these sessions. And we've had a couple of sessions already, and we've had some amazing response. So today we are going to continue that journey, talking about how we can enhance our mental health and our overall well-being, especially in the context of workplace. And as usual, I always like to keep my sessions interactive. Okay, I don't want it to be a one-way communication. So for which I will require your participation, your cooperation. So let me check with you. Are you willing to participate wholeheartedly for the next 1.5 hours or so?
You can unmute your microphone.
Yeah. You can unmute, you can use the chat, anything you're comfortable.
Yes,
Great. Yeah. So I hope all of us are, feeling very refreshed this morning. You had your breakfast, tea, coffee. Yeah. Give me a thumbs up if you've already had your breakfast, tea, coffee. A thumbs up reaction, guys.
Not everybody is on camera.
Not everybody's had.
Not everybody is on camera, I said.
Not camera, but the reactions can be there, no? Like
Yeah,
someone
yeah,
has given Kishore, yeah. So
yeah.
that's okay, great. So let's start, okay? And this topic, like Ashish said, it's a very interesting topic. It's a very important and a very relevant topic for everybody, right? Because every person, to some extent, has the sense of self-doubt, and every person, to some extent, can work on improving self-confidence and self-esteem, right? So it is a journey, right? So before I really talk more about this topic, I want to start with a small story. Okay. And I want you to see if this feels familiar to you in any way, if you can relate to this story in any way. Okay. So let's meet Archit. Okay. This person, of course, it's a fictitious character, but the details that are shared actually can be very real. Okay. So Archit is 29 years old and lives with his parents. He has been working on his mental health for some time now. So he's had some mental health challenges. There have been ups and downs, but he's been trying to move forward. Okay. Recently, Archit got to know about a job opening which a friend shared with him. And, for a moment, he felt very hopeful. He felt, oh, I should apply. This could be a very fresh start for me. And he got excited. He opened his laptop, he updated his resume, and then suddenly there was this voice inside, his head, which spoke. And, it's like the devil's voice who said that, okay, what's the point in applying? I'm going to probably fail. What if, they ask me about my break here, my gap here? What if I go blank and freeze in the interview? And then he started imagining, the interview. He's sitting in front of the interviewer. mind is going blank, is not able to speak, and he felt, everybody in the room is judging him. And when he started imagining this, his heart started racing. He felt very, very anxious. So he closed his laptop. Okay. And a few days later, his friend asked him, Archit, did you apply for the job? Archit says, no, I don't think I am ready. And inside, he felt this deep disappointment. And he thought that maybe I'll never be ready, if this goes on. Okay, so, and this is not just about interviews, okay? So let's just imagine further and say that, let's say Archit did apply for the job. Let's say Archit did get the job also, okay? And when he joined the job, in his first weeks, month, there is a team meeting and he has an excellent idea in his head and he wants to speak, he wants to share that input, he wants to share that idea. But again, there is this voice inside his head which says, what if it sounds stupid? Other people are more experienced in this room. So it's better I stay quiet. Yeah. So he just keeps quiet. He doesn't say anything. And then later on, after the meeting, he thinks, oh, you know what, I should have spoken, right? Somebody else expressed the same idea which I had, and they got so much of appreciation. So I just feel very disappointed with himself that he could not share. Okay. So now I want to pause here and I want you to reflect. Can you relate to this scenario? Okay, and there are some questions here. You can again give a yes in the chat. Okay, so please use the chat or you can unmute and speak, right? Do you ever feel like you are not good enough? Yes, no.
Yes, I do have self-doubt in many times.
Yeah. Do you compare yourself with others often and then feel that I am not as good as them? I feel I am inferior. Others are much better than me. Yeah, we do that. And
Yes.
then when we have these kind of voices going on in our head, do you still say, no, or you know what, I'm going to still try? Or do you just quit? Have there been times when you've just decided to quit and just give up, even before trying, or you just tried a little and then, you just gave up? Happens? Yeah, right? So, yeah, so thank you for your responses, right? Thank you for sharing. And, you will see that you're not alone. This is a very important thing I want us to understand. Okay. So what Archit experience is something that many of us go through. And like Ashish said, it is called self-doubt. Okay. And when you're already managing mental health challenges, this voice in the head can feel very real. It can feel loud, right? And today's session is not really about forcing confidence or pretending like everything is okay. Really, it's not about that. Okay. It's just about understanding this voice of self doubt. Okay. And slowly learning how to respond to that voice with a little more kindness. Okay. And a little more belief in ourselves. That's all. So you don't have to change everything today about yourself. Okay. Just a small shift in how you see yourself, that's good enough. Even if today we can learn to pause and become more aware of that voice in our head, okay, and take a step back and say that, you know what, I'm going to still try, right? Despite maybe I can, maybe I can't, I don't know, but I'm going to try, right? That's great progress. Okay. So what is self-doubt? Like we said, it is that inner voice, okay, that constantly is making us question ourselves again and again and again and again. And it has got nothing to do with our capability. It has got nothing to do with our abilities, right? In fact, people who actually are very capable, very talented, very experienced, very qualified and skilled, they also experience self-doubt. And you will see many famous personalities who struggled with self doubt. Can you name some very famous personalities who struggled with self doubt? I'll give you an example. I was reading the other day about, Charles Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin, you have heard of Charlie Chaplin, everybody?
Yeah.
Would you say he was a very, very successful person? Very talented
Mm,
person? Yes, no?
yes.
And do you know that he was somebody who struggled with self-doubt throughout his life? Imagine. So it has got nothing to do with how capable you are or not. In fact, more capable, more, people start doubting themselves. Okay? So many of us have these thoughts. I am not good enough. What if I fail? Other people are better than me. And this is what we call as self-doubt. So learning to this, recognize this inner voice as self-doubt is very, very important. Right? This voice that makes us question our abilities, our decisions, our own worth, everything about ourselves. And like I said, sometimes this voice can be very strong and it can actually stop us from trying new things. It can stop us from speaking up when we want to speak up and even doing things that we are actually capable of doing, very much capable of doing. But this voice can feel so strong and so real that you say, no, no, no. It creates fear, right? Now, the important thing I want us to remember is that just because this voice is very loud doesn't mean it is true. Okay. So the next time, I want you to become more aware of these thoughts and understand these are voices of self-doubt and they are not real. They are not true. Okay. Even though they feel like they're very true and they're very real. Okay. Now, my next question is, why do we feel self-doubt? We have said that, okay, everybody experiences self-doubt. Famous people, very successful people experience self-doubt. So what is the reason why people experience self-doubt? And especially us, when you want to talk about yourself, where do you think this self-doubt is coming from? Yeah, there are no right or wrong answers, so feel free to share. Okay, anyone?
Fear of failure.
Fear of failure, very nice. Thank you for sharing. Excellent. What else? Anyone? Yeah. So let's look at, so we feel self-doubt because of many, many reasons. Like, one of you pointed out fear of failure. So sometimes we stop ourselves before trying, even before trying, because, we feel like, oh, you feel, oh, I want to apply for that job. But then the thought comes, oh, what if I'm going to fail? What will people say? I will make a fool of myself. So it's better I avoid. Right? Rather than trying and failing, I say I better avoid, not because you can't do it, but because you're so afraid of failing. And you feel failure is absolutely not an option. Okay. So we've spoken about it last time and in the session before also, starting to look at failure as a stepping stone to success. Okay. Failure is a feedback that where I can improve. And again, we are very successful people who have failed, right? Before they succeeded, they failed, right? Nobody has a thorough success story throughout. You can look at all, famous people, whether it's an athlete, a cricketer, so sports persons, people in the music field, so artists, business people, politicians, anybody you see, world leaders, everybody has gone through their share of failure, right? But that doesn't make them any less worth as a human being or less successful or less talented, right? So Sachin Tendulkar, you will not say he's less talented because, sometimes he got out at zero. Would you say that? No. Of course, people who don't like him may say that, but people who really understand cricket is not going to question his talent. They're going to say, you know what, it happens. We are human. So understanding that failure is inevitable part of life and it is going to happen and it's not a reflection of my worth. And if a failure is not permanent, just because I failed once doesn't mean I'm going to fail every time. In fact, every time I fail, I'm moving closer to success. because I'm learning what not to do every time I'm failing. Okay, so it's a feedback. So, and then past experiences. So past experience of failure also. Oh, but last time I tried and I failed, so now I don't want to try again. Yeah, so what? You failed last time doesn't mean you're going to fail again. And even if you fail this time, it is still moving forward, right? So, things are moving forward. Even though you can't see the progress very visibly, it is happening. It's like, how night turns to day and day turns to night. Can you see it very visibly? Suddenly it goes dark. No, it's almost like it's invisible because it's a very subtle change that happens. Earth rotating around its own axis. It's literally spinning, right? But do we feel it? Are we like literally spinning with the earth? No, because it's very subtle, but it is happening, right? Similarly, the progress in us is happening, even though we can't really notice it, it's not very visible to us. So, recognizing that, yeah, past experience or things didn't go as planned, I did not clear an exam, I did not get that job, or I was criticized by somebody, very important, right? At home or at work, maybe somebody told me, you can't handle responsibility, right? And even today, that voice has stuck in my head, right? So, so it is something that, we all have to, work on. So, past experiences, okay? Symptoms of illness. Now, for those people who are living with mental health conditions, self doubt can feel strong because of the symptoms. This is very important, right? So, what kind of symptoms? For example, mood changes, mood fluctuations, right? That can affect how we see ourselves. So, on some days, I feel okay. On other days, I feel very low. I feel very hopeless. I feel nothing is working out for me. And I feel unsure of everything. Yeah. Happens, no? Yeah. And even daily tasks, simple things like daily tasks, like getting out of bed, okay, taking a bath, making a phone call, feels like a big struggle. And when that happens, what happens? It's very easy to start believing that, what, something is wrong with me. I'm not capable of doing those basic things. Even though it is the illness that is affecting, it's not my inner ability or my worth, it's the illness, right? And of course, so this, challenges with daily tasks and the social stigma, yeah, people around us may not fully understand our mental health, right? And they say things like, just why can't you be strong? Why can't you be normal? And when you hear this, it can make you feel very discouraged. It can make you start doubting yourselves all over again, right? Yeah. So again, what is important to understand here is if you are experiencing self-doubt, it doesn't mean there is something wrong with you. Okay. It is not a weakness. It is actually a response to all these experiences and all these challenges that you have been experiencing. So it's very natural actually to have self-doubt, right? And the good news is that if we understand where this is coming from, if we start becoming more aware, we can slowly learn how to handle it better. So rather than the self-doubt controlling us, we can start controlling it. Yeah. So I want you again to take a moment to reflect and think, okay, which of these can relate to most right now, which you feel is creating self-doubt for you? Is it your past experiences? Is it your fear of failure? Is it, do you think, because of your mood challenges or symptoms of illness, or you feel what other people think, people criticizing? Okay. And if you're not comfortable, you don't have to share it, but I want you to notice it for yourself. Okay, this is where my self-doubt may be coming from. Yeah, acknowledge it to yourself. Yeah, it's very, very important. So you see where it's really coming from. Okay. So everyone with me so far?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now the question is, how does self-doubt show up? Okay, Kishore, symptoms of illness, fear of failure. Thanks for sharing. Okay. Now we know self-doubt where it's coming from. Okay. The possible cause or the triggers. How does it manifest? How does self doubt show up in life? How do we recognize self doubt showing up? Okay. So, some common ways in which it shows up. Okay. So, self doubt is not just a thought in the head, it actually shows up in our daily life through different actions, okay, through different behaviors, through what we choose to do or what we choose not to do. Right. So, one, of course, is the negative self talk. So, we spoke and we are going to talk about it again because this is a very important aspect. Okay. So, it's that inner voice that keeps putting us down. Thoughts like, I am useless, I always mess things up, I can't do anything right. And when we hear that voice again and again and again, we start believing it. Yeah. And that's when the voice becomes more powerful. Right. So, I must have said this in the last session also when we were talking about negative self-talk or negative thoughts, right? It's not the thoughts itself. Having those thoughts itself is not a problem. Believing those thoughts is when we give them power. When we recognize those thoughts as just thoughts, they are not facts. It's like background noise. You can ignore them, right? But when you start believing them, that's when you're giving them more energy and that's when they start influence. Okay? And another very classic way of self doubt is avoiding new things, avoiding challenges. We don't try something new, not because we can't, but because we are afraid to fail. We said, right? Not applying for a job, avoiding social situations. How many of us do that? Avoid social situations, interactions, meeting new people, speaking up in a group, like right now, also, right? It's not easy, although we are just a small group, very small group of people, but it's not easy to speak up, right? Even when I have something to say, maybe I want to say, maybe I want to contribute, but I hold myself back. Yeah. Or relying on others for approval, because we don't trust ourselves. I don't trust my decision. So, of course, it's okay to ask others sometimes, right? For important things, consultation. But when we constantly keep asking others, is this okay? Should I do this? Even for small things, because you don't trust yourself, right? It's okay to take advice, but constantly needing approval from others is a sign of self doubt. Okay. So learning to trust yourself is also important. Yeah. Or giving up easily. So you may try something, but very half hearted because already that fear is there. So you try something once or twice, and if it doesn't work, you stop. You say, no, no, see, I can't do it. I already knew I can't do it. Yeah, so you give up very easily. Okay. People pleasing, we say yes when we actually want to say no. Why? Why do we do that? Let me ask you.
We don't want to look bad.
Yeah. I don't want to displease others. So I keep agreeing with them. Right? So there is in a group we are discussing something and I have a valid point of disagreement. And I'm having a conversation with Ashish. Ashish says something and I want to disagree with him, but I say no, no, no. Let me just agree with him because otherwise Ashish will not like me.
Mhm.
And it's very important for me that Ashish and everybody should like me because if they don't like me means there is something wrong with me. And every time somebody asks me to do something, I will say yes, okay. I'll say okay to everything, right? Because I want to avoid conflict, I want to avoid displeasing others, right? Because I constantly want approval from others, no, I want to please them. Okay. And then you feel bad about yourself more than, oh, I could not even make my point. Right? How silly I am. I'm so weak. I could not even speak up when I had a disagreement. When I wanted to say something, I didn't even speak up. So you feel worse about yourself, actually. Yeah. And comparing ourselves with others, looking at others and thinking, they are so much better than me. Even within this community, I feel we may be doing that. Oh, see, this person is actually better than me. That person is better than me. Right? Without seeing our own journey. Every person is unique. Every person's journey is unique. Challenge, the combination of challenges, right? We may have similar challenges, but the sum total of your life, your living circumstances, your past history, yeah, your genetic makeup, your personality, everything is so different, no? So it's actually, you cannot compare the two people. And yet we compare based on one parameter. We say, oh, see, that person is better than me overall. Okay, maybe that person may be better than me in that particular parameter, but that doesn't, there are so many parameters, right? So they may be better in one area, I may be better than in some other area. Or it's not even fair to compare, it's like, I'm comparing when in school, right? We put, we have these age group, right, for competitions, right? Even in sports, right? So it's not fair to put people in, like somebody who's a 6-year-old in a competition with adults, right? So if I'm learning something new, for example, I'm quite poor in terms of technology, right? So if I start comparing myself in terms of a tech expert, obviously I'm going to feel, because I'm not qualified, right? I don't have that kind of experience. Or when I started out new in this field, right? I used to always look at people who are more experienced. I used to, oh, they can talk so well, they do so well. And I used to feel I'm not good enough, right? But not realizing, what, I am new. How can I compare myself with somebody who has 10 years of experience, right? So the important thing to notice is that these are all patterns. These things that are showing up are patterns, and they don't have to be permanent, right? Once we start seeing that how this is self-doubt showing up in my life, it starts losing its hold. So again, my question is reflection. Okay, which of these do you notice in yourself the most? How does self-doubt show up for you? Do you avoid new things completely? Or do you try but you give up very easily? Or you're always comparing yourself with other people? Or you're just waiting for other people to approve of you, or you're, people pleasing? Right? Okay. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. And I really appreciate, because it's not easy to accept that, yeah, I do this. Right? So already you're taking a step forward in confidence, confidently putting it there. See, I do this people pleasing. Right? So I really appreciate you sharing that. And negative self-talk, I think all of us, we have them. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about these negative self-thoughts, because that's really the inner voice is what we are dealing with in terms of self-doubt. So these are some examples of frequent negative thoughts that we have, you know. So let's look at some of these thoughts that many of us experience. I can't, right? Feeling like, this, whatever this thing I'm dealing with, it's something which is insurmountable. What does insurmountable mean?
Very high.
Very high. Yeah, I can't overcome it. It's too much, right? Whenever we're facing a challenge, we feel, oh, it's too much. Isn't it? Feels overwhelming. It feels bigger than us. But actually, you are bigger than your challenge. Yeah. And at that time, it may seem overwhelming, but it is actually not that overwhelming. And later on, you feel, oh, yeah, why did I make such a big deal out of it? Right? So it feels real. Right? And when you feel it's insurmountable, when you feel it's overwhelming, when you feel it's too big, too much, you say that, no, no, I'm not going to try. I can't do it. So you feel I am not good enough. You feel I don't have that worth. I don't have the ability, right? I am not enough, right? And so why should I even try, right? Or, I will fail, right? So that really leads to hesitation. I'm stuck, feeling like, I'm never going to progress. Things are never going to change for me. It's always going to be like this only. And that is, can be very frustrating. No, it can be very demoralizing. Or thinking that other people won't understand. So, what's the point of sharing? What's the point of asking for help also? What's the point of, doing anything? And then we isolate ourselves. Yeah. So, these thoughts can feel very real in the moment. And when we believe them, they can stop us from trying new things, making decisions that are good for us, even taking small steps forward. Right? So if I think that I will fail, I don't even try. And when I don't try, then I feel, yeah, see, I was right. Better good I didn't try. The more you avoid, you're strengthening the avoidance and fear. Very important to understand, because you're telling your brain that fear is very real. And the more you try, the more you're telling yourself that it is not real. That fear is not real. It is okay because I survived it. Right? It's not going to kill me. It's only going to make me stronger. There is a saying, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Yeah. So, or like I said, so these thoughts just don't stay in our mind. They affect our actions, they affect our confidence. And that brings me to this reminder that I want you to have again. Thoughts are not facts. Okay? Just because I've had a thought doesn't mean it's true. So our mind, especially when I have a mental health condition, can focus more on fear. It more focuses more on negative past experiences. Okay, when we are not feeling well. So instead of believing every thought I have to learn to start asking, is this 100% true? Questioning that thought. This is from the last session we spoke about, right? So next time a thought like this comes in your mind, just notice it and ask yourself, or tell yourself, this is a thought, this is not necessarily a fact. And I can choose not to believe it. And if I don't believe it, it has got no power over me. Okay? So now a quick exercise I want to do. I want you to think of or write down one negative thought you've had recently. And we have looked at many examples. Okay. Think of one negative thought that comes to you often. It could be something as simple as, I can't do this. I will fail. I'm not good enough. Others are better than me. Okay. Just notice it, and you can note it down, and you can put it in the chat also, because now we are going to learn how to overcome this voice of self-doubt. Okay. Especially for those of you who did not attend the last session. Yeah. Can you put down the thought? Yeah, I am not good enough. Yes. All right. So now, how do we overcome self-doubt? I must be perfect. Yes, great. Thanks for sharing. Yeah. So when I say I must be perfect, it's such a huge pressure, no? Because pressure means I should not fail. It literally means that I should not make any mistakes, right? And that's too much pressure because, obviously mistakes are like I said, part of the journey. So how do I overcome self-doubt? Simple steps, three simple tips. First is noticing, becoming aware when these negative thoughts arise. Okay. And write them down. I always suggest write them down because it gives you more clarity. Okay. And then question. Ask yourself, is this self-doubt, is the thought is based on facts or just your assumption? Is this 100% true? So I am not good enough. Okay. Is this 100% true or is just my assumption? I must be perfect. Who has told you you have to be perfect? I myself have told myself this thing, right? So it is not 100% true, right? So it's not always 100% true. Most of the times you will realize these thoughts are not 100% true. These are just my, extreme thoughts. These are demands, unrealistic demands. So, the example I say is that, if a friend had this kind of thought and they were feeling very anxious, very nervous, and they were giving up, they're not trying, what would you tell them? So try to replace that extreme thought, extreme negative thought with something more balanced, with a kinder, more balanced thought. So I am not good enough. How can you replace it?
I could try.
Yes, I can try, right? Or saying, I may not be perfect, but I have strengths and I can always learn, right? I can always learn and improve. So remember, when we say replacing, it doesn't have to be positive, unrealistic thoughts. So instead of saying I'm not good enough, I don't want you to say, oh, I am great, I'm a superstar. No, because that's not believable and that's not realistic. What is believable is to say, you know what, I can improve. It's a journey and I can always learn and grow. I'm better than where I was yesterday. And then I must be perfect. How can I replace it with a more kinder, balanced thought?
I can do my best.
Absolutely. I can try my best, and that is enough. Okay. Or mistakes are part of learning, and it is okay to make mistakes. It's not a reflection on my worth. Mistakes only actually tell you that you have tried. Yeah. One thing that a mistake tells you is that you tried. Somebody who says they have never made a mistake, possibilities they've never tried. Yeah. So what is better, never trying or making a mistake?
Making a mistake, of course.
Right? So always I
Mm.
want you to reframe mistakes as, oh, making a mistake means I tried. And trying means, because without trying, you cannot make a mistake, right?
Mm.
So when you tried, you obviously had made progress. Always remember Thomas Edison example. Who was Thomas Edison?
The scientist,
Yeah. Who invented?
bulbs.
Yes, the light bulb. And you know the famous interview in which Thomas Edison was asked, when you invented the light bulb, there were so many times you failed, you know. Apparently he failed. I think it is a little whatever fictitious number, but 900 or 999 times he failed. Uh,
Yeah,
and he says that who told you that I failed 999 times? 990 times I learned how not to make a light bulb.
right.
So every time I was moving closer to making a light bulb. Imagine. And you pick up any person in history, right? We have very famous example in India, like Amitabh Bachchan. You know that he was rejected in, what was that? All India Radio, right? He auditioned for it and his voice was rejected. Imagine his voice was rejected. So many famous people, they were rejected. They were told they're not good enough, but they did not believe it. So it's not about what other people are telling you, it's about what you are telling yourself, right? And when we think of Amitabh Bachchan now, we think only of his success stories. But he's had his failures. No, even after becoming a superstar, he's had a failures. So nothing is going to guarantee permanent success. In fact, there is a guarantee for failure. That much life can guarantee us, each one of us. Nobody is spared of it. Okay? So what are we afraid of? What are you afraid of? Yeah? So the goal is not to force more balance, positive thinking, but to have more balanced thoughts, right? So instead of saying I am useless, I will say I am trying and that is enough. Instead of saying I must be perfect, you know, it is okay to make mistakes. Instead of saying I am expected not to make mistakes, expected by whom? And the person who is expecting me not to make mistakes, have they never made mistakes? Yesterday I was reading this. This is a very nice book called The Almanac of Naval Ravikant. And there's a very nice line in the book. The whole book is nice, so you can read it. One nice line, I'm trying to recollect exactly what it says that what other people expect of you is their problem. It's not your problem. Because it is their expectation, no? So how is it your responsibility to fulfill their expectation? You wouldn't tell them to have that when you have an agreement with other people, that is your problem, he says. So when somebody else is expecting me not to make mistakes, it's their problem. But when I'm agreeing with them that yeah, I will not, I make an agreement with them, yeah, you know what, you are expecting me not to make mistakes, so I will not make any mistake. Then it becomes my problem. because I made an agreement with them. So don't make an agreement with them. Why do you have to make an agreement with them? Because again, people pleasing. Oh, this person is expecting me to be perfect, or this person is expecting me not to make mistakes. Then I have to prove. Why? You don't have to prove anything to anybody. And proving, it's not a one-time thing, no. You'll have to keep constantly proving every time, because every time you prove, now the pressure is higher. Yeah, the pressure is higher. Oh, now I have to do even great. I have to do even better. No, it's okay. I will be myself, you know. So, I feel very grateful every time I get, positive feedback, and Vijayji, Ashishji tell, that, oh, your sessions are great. But if I put that kind of pressure on myself and say, oh my God, now I have to be more amazing than last time. I have to be even greater. No, it's not going to happen. I will be myself. And I know I can't always, again, my best will be different on different days. It will depend on so many factors, right? So if I say no, the world is expecting me to be a certain way, and I have to know I will be who I am, and I will do my best. As long as I have given my best, I'm satisfied. That is the only thing I can control. I cannot control the outcome. I cannot control what other people think of me, right? So trying to prove myself perfect is a fail, because even if this time you do everything without mistake, what is the guarantee that next time again you will be able to do it? Because now they're going to expect you to do more,
Yeah.
isn't it? It actually creates more anxiety. It creates more pressure. It is not going to make you happy. Fulfilling others' expectations is not going to make you happy. It is only going to make you feel more tied down. You're now a prisoner of that image that you have created for them. Image of perfection, image of a nice girl, good boy, who never says no, very helpful, you know. So this is a very helpful person. So now people think, oh, Alpana is a very helpful person. So now what Alpana has to do? I have to live up to that image, no? So I can never say no to anything. So now there's so much pressure on me that, oh, I have to always come across as very helpful. Alpana is very intelligent. Oh, I have to always come across as very intelligent. I have to everything that comes out of my mouth has to be a pearl of wisdom. It's too much pressure. Yeah. So it never is going to do any kind of good for anybody having these kind of thoughts. Yeah. Now, so let's yeah, practice this a little. Okay. So very common scenarios we have taken, and we're going to do the calming the inner critic. The inner critic is what? The voice in my head, and trying kinder thoughts. So imagine a scenario where you're going for an interview, you're going for an important interview, and a thought comes to your mind, I'm going to mess this up. So it is the voice of self-doubt. It is the inner critic. I want you to first understand. And instead of fighting it, you have to gently calm it. So how will you calm your inner critic? First, take a slow breath. Right? Instead of saying, oh, I should not have this thought, or believing that, oh, I've got this thought, I'm going to mess up, means I'm going to mess up. Right? No, just say, oh, I'm just going to take a breath. And I say to myself, okay, I feel nervous, and that's okay. That's perfectly normal. It means this is important for me. I want you to now again reframe nervousness. Earlier we saw mistake as a reframing for I'm making a mistake means
I'm trying.
absolutely. And I'm nervous means doesn't mean I'm not prepared or I'm not good enough. It means I'm very serious about what I'm doing. I'm very keen to do it well. This is important for me. So nervousness is not a bad thing. Only when something is important for you, you will feel nervous, no?
Right.
So nervousness is a good sign that this is important for me. So tell yourself, I feel nervous and that's okay. And I can try my best. I do not have to be perfect. Imagine you kind of put down such a heavy burden. Yeah. So this is one way. We are not trying to remove that thought completely. So what we are doing is we are just trying to make it less harsh and more manageable. Yeah. So everybody with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the second thing is trying kinder thoughts. So another example, let's say you were not able to complete a task. And immediately what thought comes to mind? I'm so irresponsible. I'm so useless. I can't do anything right. Now, how are you going to? So pause again. Recognize this is my inner critic speaking, and just because it's speaking doesn't mean it's true. How can I change it to something kinder? What if I was talking to my friend or somebody I love? I was not able to complete a task. That's a reality. But instead of saying I am useless, I am irresponsible, I am lazy, I am this and I am that, how can I replace with a more kinder, gentler thought, balanced thought? Come on, try.
Maybe I'm not, maybe if I find the reason why I'm not feeling up to it, I can find a way around it.
Absolutely. So, moving towards a solution rather than keep blaming myself. So, acknowledging, saying, you know what, I couldn't do it today, and that's okay. Sometimes things are difficult,
Hmm.
right? There are ups and downs, and that's okay. I can correct it and I can do better tomorrow. Yeah. Because when I acknowledge and I say that, yeah, I slipped today, and that's okay, that's human, doesn't mean I'm giving myself permission to slip every day. I'm saying I will correct myself tomorrow. I'll do better tomorrow, better than what I did today.
Hmm.
Okay. So I'm still improving. Yeah. Or I couldn't complete it today, but that doesn't mean I'm useless. That doesn't make me completely useless because there were so many other things I've done. Does it erase that? Again, going back to the example, Sachin Tendulkar getting out at zero. Does it erase all of his past accomplishments, his abilities, his talent?
No, definitely not.
Amitabh Bachchan giving a flop movie, trying a horrendous role, right? We've all seen him doing that. His failure in business, bankruptcy. Does that make him useless? Yeah, so making these blanket judgments about yourself, no, I failed. I acknowledge I failed. But that doesn't make me useless as a person, right? And this can be applied everywhere, like you're going in a social gathering, people will judge me. I shouldn't talk anything stupid, right? So it's okay, I'll be myself. And I don't know what other people are thinking of me. And it's not my problem what they are thinking of me. Everybody is not, certainly everybody is not judging me, right? There are some people who I can feel comfortable and go and talk to, right? So we are talking about moving from self-doubt to self-belief. So what is self-belief? Trusting yourself, right? Trying even when unsure and accepting mistakes. Remember, so what have I written here? Self-doubt, self-belief doesn't mean I'm perfect. It means I can try. It meaning, so when we talk about confidence, there is this myth that confident people never have doubt, never have fear. No, everybody experiences doubt, but they still act. Confident people still act. So confidence is not absence of fear, or courage is not absence of fear. It is action despite fear. Yeah. So to have self-belief, you don't have to wait to become perfect. It is just accepting that, yes, I am human and I have limitations and I will make mistakes. Right? So self-belief is not about thinking I am the best, I will never fail. It's actually very, very simple. It's about trusting yourself a little bit, your abilities, your talents, even when you're unsure, you're trying. And accepting, yeah, mistakes are part of the process. So instead of saying I will be perfect or I have to be perfect, I'm just saying I will try. I will try to do my best. Okay. So now let's look at an example here. Okay. Imagine somebody is returning to work after a break, due to health reasons. You've had to take a break. Yeah. And this person is going through, self-doubt, like, will I be able to manage? What if other people judge me? What if I can't perform like before? Yeah. And the self doubt says, maybe I should not go back. I won't be able to handle the pressure. Yeah. But self belief will sound different. What will self belief say? I feel unsure, of course. I feel nervous, but it's okay. I can start slowly. I don't have to do everything today. I don't even have to be the same as before. I can take one day at a time. Yeah. Maybe the first few days will feel uncomfortable. Maybe you will need more breaks. Maybe things will not be perfect, but you have still shown up. I don't know how many of us here I have actually had that experience of returning to work after a break or taking a break because of health reasons, right? So the self doubt increases even more. No, you took a break. So when you have a physical health issue, obviously people take a break. So mental health is same as physical, as important as physical health. Right? It's not that physical health is more respectable than mental health. No, right? Health challenge is a health challenge, whether it's physical or mental, right? So self-belief is not about being fully confident. It's giving yourself permission to try. That's all. And the truth is, many people feel unsure when they're trying something new. Most people, even the most successful people, and on the outside, they look very confident. It's like, we saw some celebrities coming out and talking about their struggles, and we say, oh, this person, right? This person has a challenge. Doesn't seem like. Why? Because you couldn't see it on the outside, right? So confidence is not about having no fear, but it's about taking small steps despite of your fear, right? So, yeah. And so how do we move forward in self-belief, right? So now we are trying to counter that voice of self-doubt by noticing our, when we experience self-doubt, we focus only on what we can't do. And we forget to notice on what we can do. So this is about gently shifting that focus. Instead of constantly focusing on what I can't do, my mistakes, my drawbacks, my failures, I'm shifting my focus to my personal skills. They don't have to be big things, right? It could be just simply I'm able to manage my daily tasks. I'm able to be organized, right? I am able to do my own cooking. I am able to be financially stable. Whatever it is for you, I have a job or I have the qualifications, right? I have been able to have an education, right? And now, remember that uh, at that time, whatever you have today seemed like a big deal. Oh, I will not get that job, or I will not be able to clear my exams. But you were able to do it. And today, you don't value that anymore. Oh, I have the job, but oh, I have this qualification, but right? No, so learn to value it. Acknowledging your past achievements. It could be anything. So, like I said, completing a difficult an education, handling a difficult phase of life, and we've all been through that, I'm sure. Just being able to manage the illness, keeping up with your appointments, medical appointments, even showing up for this session today, participating in this session, right? Everything that you're doing is an achievement. So don't downplay your achievements. It doesn't have to be some grand slam victory. Okay? Remembering small acts of kindness. Maybe you helped somebody at home, or maybe you helped a friend. or you supported somebody emotionally who's going through a tough, these are also strengths. Okay. And the important thing is your strengths may feel small, but they matter. Okay. And once we start noticing them, the confidence starts growing little by little. So making a list, I want you to make a list of your strengths and put it up in a place that you can keep visible. It could be your phone screen, it could be your laptop, it could be your mirror, dressing mirror. Okay. So again, a quick reflection. I want you to think of one small strength or a positive quality in yourself. And I want you to write it down in the chat. This is very important. I want you to acknowledge that for yourself.
Mine is compassionate listening, probably.
Compassionate listening, great. And that's a huge, huge strength, being able to listen, because it's a very rare quality to have. We have people who can speak very well, but we have very few people who can listen well. Because with compassionate listening, patience comes, empathy comes in, right?
Yeah.
Come on, others. Yeah, one quality, one strength, or one thing that I did in this last 1 week. Anything. I want you to put it in the chat, those of us who have joined, please. Yeah. It can be something very small, like being able to get out of bed on a difficult day. It could be taking
Mm.
your medication on time. It could be completing a task. It could be reaching out to someone when we are not feeling good, right? Okay, being disciplined. Okay, great. Self-discipline, again, very, very important, right? It really helps us. Okay, discovery. All right. Yeah. And sometimes we ignore these small things because you feel they are not important, right? But everything matters, right? And see, even now the hesitation, right? It is that self-doubt. Oh, is this good enough to write? Is this good enough to good at logistics, doing morning exercises? Great, great. And appreciate yourself and your confidence for actually putting it down, right, on the chat, because it requires courage to do that. So despite that self-doubt, despite that hesitation, you are able to do it. Right? This is very important. So these are the small steps which actually show effort. They show strength, they show progress. And when you start noticing them, don't wait for other people to notice them and appreciate. Oh, but others are not appreciating. So what? They are not, but you can appreciate yourself, right? So don't wait for other people, right? Another important thing that we can, because again, this is about that inner voice, right? So we have the grounding breath. We discussed this last time also, and affirmations, but let's do that again. So let's take a moment to slow down and really connect with ourselves, right? So if you feel comfortable, you can gently close your eyes or just, lower your gaze, soften your gaze. Okay, it's a simple grounding simple exercise. So I want us to, sit comfortably, back, neck straight, and I want you to breathe in for 4 counts. Okay, so in through your nose and then hold for a couple of seconds and then breathe out slowly through the mouth over 6 counts. So we say breathe in over 4 counts, hold, and gently exhale through the mouth over 6 counts. And you can repeat this a few times. And as you're doing this breath work, you can allow your body to relax more and more with each breath, especially when you exhale. Yeah. So this is a great breath and the mind are very closely related. When the mind is agitated, disturbed, the breath is also disturbed. Now we want to move from an agitated state of mind to a relaxed state of mind. Can we directly control the mind? We can't. So we work with the breath. Yeah. So by working with the breath and relaxing the breath, we are able to relax the mind. Okay, so the breath has direct effect on our physiology. Okay, and then affirmations. Affirmations are what? Positive statements. It's like mantra. So instead of that negative inner talk, you are consciously repeating some positive statements or balanced statements like, I'm doing the best I can, and that is enough for me. Or I'm learning every day. Or I'm stronger than I think. Any affirmations, you'll find a lot of affirmations online also. Right? So repeat those affirmations every day. Even if these words don't feel true to you right now, just repeating them every day. So looking at yourself in the mirror and saying it 5 times with a smile. I'm stronger than I think. I'm learning every day. I'm improving every day. I'm doing my best and that's enough. Saying it with kindness, saying it with appreciation. Right? So these exercises. And then of course, support system, right? One very important part of building self-belief is, remembering that you don't have to do everything on your own. Support can come from different places. It could be your family members who can support us in our daily lives, who can remind you of your strengths or just be there through your difficult time, right? Or it could be your friends, somebody you feel comfortable talking to, even one person who can listen to you without judging you, right? One person you can trust, that can make a very big difference. When you're feeling low, when you feel I can't do it for myself, encouraging somebody else can do that encouragement for you, and that can really help you. Your mental health professionals, your therapist or your doctor, they are trained and they can help you understand your thoughts, your symptoms, and they can guide you step by step. And seeking help, remember, is a sign of strength. It's not a sign of weakness. You also have your support groups, your peer groups, right? There are people with, like a space like this, people with similar experience who are coming together and being around, who people who understand you can actually feel very comforting. Just knowing that, okay, there are others who feel like me, I'm not alone, and it's okay. So that can reduce self-doubt. That doesn't mean there's something wrong with me. So, yeah, you don't have to do it alone. Now, remember, sometimes, we may not have that strong family support, and that's okay. Right? So the support doesn't always have to come only from family, it can come from these other sources also. Reaching out, even in a small way, can make things feel lighter, more manageable. You don't have to keep suffering alone. Okay. So sometimes, you know, even when we know support is available, it's not easy to reach out. Yeah, because you feel I have to handle this on my own, or others won't understand, or what if other people judge me, right? And again, these feelings, they are valid. But at the same time, you know, just just reflect, just understand. When you're physically unwell, you don't hesitate to go to a doctor. But when it comes to mental health, we feel, oh, I have to manage myself. No, seeking help does not mean you're weak. It means you're taking a step forward to take care of yourself. Right? And reaching out doesn't have to be a big step. It could be just sending a message instead of calling if you don't feel like calling. Right? Talking to one person you feel safe with, attending one session, right? Just being a part of the group, even if you don't want to participate, just being in the group, right? You don't have to share everything at once. You can go at your own pace, right? And there is one more thing I want to, when you have this doubt, okay, people are not going to understand me, right? And this comes from our past experience in terms of how other people react to mental health, no? Sometimes being around people who say, like I said, you have to be strong. Why can't you be normal? This is all in your head. Hearing these things can feel very hurtful and it can actually increase self-doubt and it can make you feel, oh, no, I don't want to ask for help. Yeah. But again, remember, lack of understanding from other people doesn't mean there is something wrong with you. Sometimes people speak this way not because they have a bad intention. They want to help you, but they don't fully understand mental health. So it is their lack of understanding, their lack of awareness. So what can you do in a situation like that? Don't take every comment that is coming from others as truth. Just because somebody has said something doesn't mean it's true. Oh, but my mom said this. Oh, but my so and so said this. My boss said this. No, it's okay. And choose what to share, what and how much you have to share and with whom. You don't have to explain everything to everyone. It's okay to open up only to people you feel safe with, who you feel will actually support you. And that's important. And you can even put boundaries, when somebody is trying to say certain things, you should be strong, you should do this, you should do that. You can say, I understand your concern. I know you mean well, but this is something I'm working on in my own way. Thank you for your concern. So you're respecting them. You say, I prefer not to discuss this right now. I appreciate your concern, but I prefer not to discuss. So it's okay. You don't have, just because somebody is asking you doesn't mean you have to share if you're not comfortable, right? And reminding yourself of the reality that, I know what I'm going through. Nobody else knows it. And I am taking steps to manage it. So, how to deal with stigma? It's not easy, but learning to protect your own space, you choose people who are actually supportive and you trust your own experience. Yeah. Trust your own. Nobody else has to validate it for you. Sometimes we wait for other people to validate our feelings. No. Yeah. So finally, some daily habits. What are the things, simple things that we can do, right? Building self belief, self confidence is not going to happen in one big moment. You wake up tomorrow morning. No, it happens in small daily habits, consistent steps. So, speaking one kind phrase to yourself every day, like I said, I will try my best today, or it's okay to take one step at a time, right? Saying that to yourself every day, try to say one kind phrase to yourself, or write down one positive thought. Today was not easy, but I managed something, right? Or noticing a small win that, like we practiced, right? I'm somebody who has self-discipline. I'm somebody who is good at logistics. I'm somebody who did my morning exercises, right? Or taking a short walk or doing some activity, right? Doing a simple task, it gives you a sense of movement, it gives you a sense of progress, right? So the key is not to do everything perfectly, but it's about one small habit doing consistently. That can change how we feel about ourselves. Okay, so which one of these feels easiest for you to start with out of all the three? Every day you can do one of these. You can do more than one, but of course, at least one of these. Look at yourself in the mirror and say that kind sentence to yourself. Write one line. Yes, great. Yeah. And remember, even when we are trying to build confidence, there are going to be days when you'll feel heavy, you'll feel slow, you'll feel overwhelmed, and that is okay. Okay. So remind yourself that it's okay to take rest. Sometimes the best thing you can do is rest. Take a break. Taking a break doesn't mean you're lazy. It is basically taking care of yourself. Ask for help. On difficult days, even small support can help. Talking to somebody, sending a message, reaching out to someone, right? Or doing one small thing. Just focus on one small thing. I think I heard, so I think in the conference, somebody say that, making your bed. I don't know if Ashish, you said, right? Yeah, making your bed in the morning. Yeah, that's it. Just getting out of bed, I'm going to just brush my teeth, or I'm going to just take a shower, or I'm just going to step outside for a few minutes. Small steps. Remember, progress is not linear. There are going to be days when you feel better. Some days you're not going to feel okay. That doesn't mean you're slipping back. Okay? It just means you're human. So each time you get through a difficult day, also you're building that proof that you're stronger than you think. So when you have a difficult day, I want you to reframe it as, no, I had a bad day. No, I got through this day. It means I'm strong. Yeah. Yeah. So that brings me to the end of the presentation. Yeah. And as always, just reflect. I want you to take a few quiet moments to reflect on, what is one insight that felt most useful for you and that will stay with you and that will make you think differently, or one step that you will start taking. Okay, yesterday I had a tough day, so I did self massage, shower, pranayam. Great, great. Thank you for sharing. And who can support me? One person who can support me. Yeah, this is just for you to take something meaningful from today's session. And if you would like to, share in the chat, you can do that. One word, one thought, anything, one line. And of course, questions are welcome if you have any questions also. Anything.
So I really like this session, Alpana. One of the thoughts that I had about self-doubt and self-belief is whenever I carry the memories of rejection,
Yeah,
I tend to reject before anybody else can do it.
I know. Yeah,
And then I say, ये तो नहीं होगा, देख लेंगे. And मेरा effort ही 50% होता है.
बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल.
Because I know I'm going to be rejected. I've already rejected by myself, you know.
Yes, yeah. So
That's a very self-defeating approach.
absolutely. And I'm glad you brought it up. So, what is important to understand again is, rejection hurts. And it's an emotional wound. And emotional wounds are stronger than physical wounds because physical wounds are time bound, they heal after a certain time, but emotional wounds can linger for a lifetime. Yeah, when somebody has rejected me, it's such an emotional wound and it leaves a scar. And when I'm wounded, the next time physically, if I get wounded, like let's say I cut myself with a knife or, I touch a hot stove, next time I'm going to say, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to do that thing.
Mm.
So when I have an emotional wound, obviously I'm going to say, the next time I'm not going to try this. So again, I want you to recognize that it's my brain trying to protect me from danger,
Mm, mm.
right? But the question is, again, protecting you to keep safe. But yeah, is it a life or death scenario? What is the worst thing that can happen? Acknowledge, okay, my brain is trying to protect me, it's trying to keep me safe, and that's okay. But I'm going to take one small step because this is not going to kill me, right? So we are actually acknowledging that, yes, that fear that is there and rejecting before getting rejected. Because why? Because if I don't try, I will not fail. Na?
Right.
But not trying itself is a failure. No? Actually, it's
Yeah.
worse. It's worse than failure. Because, like we said, failure, it means that I tried. So it's actually a step above. Not trying is worse than failing. So getting rejected is actually means what? I tried. That's why I got rejected, no? I did not get rejected, meaning I didn't even try.
Yeah.
So what is the big deal about it? I did not get rejected. It's worse than, so not getting rejected in a way is worse than getting rejected. Yeah. So, this
Yeah.
J.K. Rowling, you know who's J.K. Rowling?
Yeah, Harry Potter's
Author of
author.
Harry Potter. Again, a very nice story. And she has a very nice speech that she's given at some convocation of Harvard, or you can look it up on YouTube. Again, a very difficult story that she went through, a lot of poverty, right, before becoming a successful author. And she could not believe herself. Even she went through a lot of self-doubt. And she says a very nice line where she says that when we are living our life, if you start living it so cautiously that I don't want to make a mistake, maybe you'll be able to get through life. But then it's not, you actually have not lived a life, right? Because when you're living a life, you're going to make mistakes. It's like, what?
Mm.
For me also, it's happened, and cycling. How many of us know to ride a bicycle?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how to ride a bicycle. You know why? Because I had this fear of, as a child, I had this fear of falling.
Mm.
So my condition was I should never fall. I will want to learn riding the bike, but should I never fall? So, I never fell off a bike, but I never learned cycling. Those of you who learned cycling, I'm sure you fell off the bike, right?
Yeah, sure.
So, who's more successful, you or me? Because I can say I
Mm.
never fell off the bike. But
Right.
you can tell me, but Alpana, you didn't even learn cycling.
Mm.
Yeah. So, and I wish I could learn. And now, of course, I feel okay. Now, if I break a bone, it's difficult to mend it. Yeah, but so that fear still continues. And I'm trying to work on it. So everybody has it. We are dealing with it in some way or the other. Okay. So thank you for pointing that out, Ashish. Fear of rejection. And that's why we don't try. But like we saw, getting rejected is better than not getting rejected because you didn't try. Yeah. And getting rejected, again, what does it mean? It's not a reflection on your worth. It just means there is a lack of alignment. They are not aligned with what I want or what I'm offering. And it's okay. We reject certain things, right? When you're shopping, for example. Right? We say, why? Because it's not to my taste. Doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah.
It just doesn't match with what I'm looking for. Somebody else will find that and say, oh, wow. So when somebody is rejecting me, we have to just say it's a mismatch. And I'll find a better match. It's good that they reject because if they had picked me, it would be a very difficult, what do you say, association or partnership.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
actually, they did a favor by rejecting me because I want somebody who actually wants me, right? I'm too precious, right? So I don't want to waste my time with people who don't want me. Yeah, you have to consider yourself very precious. Your time is very precious. Each one of us, we have limited time on this planet. So you want to hang out with people who really want you and who value you. People who don't value you, who don't want you, you don't have any time for them. It's not that they don't have any time for you. You don't have time for them. And it doesn't have to be arrogant. You can be respectful and say that, yeah, yeah, I will use my time in more worthwhile things, no? So don't give permission to anybody else to decide your worth. It's you who's giving permission. It's me who's giving that permission to myself. My worth only I will decide. Nobody else
Hmm.
can decide. So somebody has rejected me. They do not have that license to decide my worth. If they have that license, I have given them that license. That's how they got that license. Right? So I'm the licensing authority. Why did I give them that license? I don't give them that license. So take back that license because you're the licensing authority. You can revoke the license also, even if you have given that license to people. Yeah. Any other
Yeah.
questions? Yeah. Thank you for your feedback that's coming in. Yeah. And I hope this actually is helping you, move forward step by step. That's the important thing. This is a constant reminder I would like to give for progress. Small steps. Don't underestimate the importance of small steps. Yeah, they lead to big changes.
Thank you, Alpana.